Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. And can I say it's a pleasure to follow the Honourable Member for Nottingham South, as it always is. And can I join with her in thanking the Honourable Member for Oldham East and Saddleworth, both for securing this debate and also all the work that she does as joint chair of the all-party parliamentary group. It's a real pleasure to contribute to the debate on dementia research in the UK. As the Honourable Member has said, dementia affects around 944,000 people in the UK. That's 1.33% of the population living with dementia. And it's not just a question of impacting those during their life, but taking those people away from us, sometimes too early. It was the leading cause of death in December 2021. Dementia and Alzheimer's accounted for 12.4% of all deaths. And whilst 2021 was a year when we were rightly fixated with COVID and the impact therefrom, that accounted for 5.4% of deaths in 2021. And quite frankly, we don't talk enough about dementia and what it does. And perhaps if we talk more about the impacts, then people might join with us and press for more change. Because as the Honourable Member has said, when it comes to funding for research, it's relatively low. Cancer attracts 3 times as much of the funding, despite the statistics that I've just given. And all of this matters very much for me as the MP for Bexhill and Battle constituency, because there are 2,413 people in the constituency currently living with dementia, and that's 2.34% of my entire number of constituents, which places it second on the list of our 650 constituents in terms of having the highest number of people living with dementia. So I want to thank all of those people that care for those who live with dementia, both in my constituency and across the country. I want to send my best wishes to all of those that have dementia. And ultimately, I want to press for more so we can give a better deal for those who have dementia and for those that are so selfless and give so much either through their employment or looking after their loved ones who have dementia. I'm very lucky in terms of local interaction because I do have this around me. Then we've built up a good deal of expertise in terms of our links in East Sussex. My office team have been trained as dementia friends thanks to Alzheimer's Society. That's helped me engage a lot better with constituents who face the personal challenges. I remember when I was first elected back in 2015, I went into a dementia specialist care home in Heathfield. And we don't ever get any training for this type of thing when we're MPs, or for many things. And I spoke to the matron who was running the unit and said, you know, how do I deal when something occurs? And her advice was just go into the same world that they are. Don't be embarrassed. Just go there and actually sort of be part of it. And I remembered that advice, and I've followed it ever since. We've ended up doing some very funny things along the line, but never have I once felt silly because I felt like I was engaging and having fun. And it's sort of left that with me. I'm really lucky with all of the care homes that we actually have, where there are specialist units. I absolutely love to watch the young children coming in from the schools and reading to those who are in those care homes. Some, of course, find it very difficult in terms of short-term memories, but the long-term memories for some is extraordinary. And there was one lady I remember in Battle who didn't contribute and then stood up and read out without any flaw in terms of the words, I wandered lonely as a cloud. And it was an incredibly moving moment, and the children were absolutely shocked. And I will always remember that as well. And next week I'm visiting a local charity, Young at Heart, where, again, we have that lovely connection between young people from schools, preschools, and those who are older. And I will, of course, give way. It'd be a pleasure to do so.
Thank you very much. I myself remember starting to dance with an old lady, and the dance was endless. It was one ballroom dance, then another, the third and the fourth, and finally the care home attendant had to come and take me away and said, she's a former professional dancer. She will dance with you all afternoon unless we stop. Do you think there's a problem that people are scared of folk with dementia? And perhaps what we should be doing is teaching dementia awareness, which the honourable gentleman raised, at schools.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The honourable member is absolutely right. I do feel that a lot of us are scared. Actually, a lot of members of this place are perhaps sort of scared that they're making a fool of themselves. But actually, it's not. It's actually making your constituents happy that you're there with them. And I've done something very similar to what he has done. And it's absolutely right as well to actually teach this in schools, to actually almost require every single school to have that partnership. And then to encourage the young people to feel as if they can just let go as far as that's concerned. It's an excellent suggestion. I hope the Minister heard it and will take it into account. I also just want to mention, again, because we're very fortunate, we have local pioneers, and mention has been made of ensuring that people get tested, because if there's an earlier intervention, then it can help a great deal. And a year or so ago, I visited a pioneering local memory assessment service, which was based in Bexhill, which supports patients with dementia across both my constituency and the wider East Sussex coast. There was a doctor, Stephen French, who leads the memory assessment service. He's a GP, and I think this is what makes it quite novel. I myself took part in a memory assessment test to go all the way through it myself, and to see exactly what those who take it would have to undertake, and actually how difficult it actually is to do that. It's been running for 7 years and it's proven really successful with local residents. And what's great about it is it's a community-based dementia service, so it means that anyone presenting with a memory problem will be seen by their local GP in the first instance. And after they've gone through other causes of memory loss, which could be depression or circulatory disease, they will be referred to a local dementia specialist for a full assessment. And that's a GP close to their home. So it could be their GP that they're having that quite difficult sort of test with. And that means that those who are already worried about memory loss are able to go into a setting that they're more familiar with. It's less intimidating than perhaps going into a hospital, a mental health hospital, which is some of the links. And unsurprisingly, it means more people will take up that offer and go there. And that was obviously hugely important for a constituency such as mine, where there are so many who are impacted. And then, of course, when the test is positive, this comes as a great shock both to the individual and to their families. But again, with this particular service, 2 weeks later, local patients receive a visit from a local dementia support worker to see how they're getting on, to discuss the range of support services available to them. Then this aftercare is actually followed up by a medical review to see how the patient is coping and to assess any effectiveness in terms of the medical conditions. And then their pathway comes back into their own GP service, so it just becomes part of the condition that they are being treated for. I really feel that, as well as talking about research, which I will go on to mention, that we've got to encourage early diagnosis, we've got to encourage it in a local setting, and we've got to take away the stigma of it, coming back to the point the Honourable Member made around interacting. It's also a stigma about going and having those tests, and I would encourage any colleague of mine to go and have the test in the same way that I have. It's incredibly insightful. But let's come back to the main thrust of this debate, which is around research. I also agree with the Honourable Member that this debate should be about hope. I agree with her that research will find that cure. And I also agree with her that it's a when, not if. But I also agree with her that it requires continued funding of our amazing life science and research sector. We are blessed with it in this country. And I particularly like to sort of note the UK Dementia Research Institute, which was set up in 2017, got the main hub in University College London, but 6 other centres across the UK, funded by the Medical Research Council, Alzheimer's Society and Alzheimer's Research UK. They will be doing that job to deliver that moonshot cure that the Honourable Member has talked about. But it will require a good chunk of that £5 billion that's been committed from the 2021 spending review to go into research for dementia. I am encouraged by the government's track record. When we had the 5-year plan in 2015, the challenge on dementia, there was a commitment to spend £300 million by March 2020. In fact, that figure was spent by March 2019, and it was £344 million. So the track record is there, but there are some bold pledges in my own 2019 manifesto as to what we were going to do as a party to help deliver that cure for dementia. I want to put it to the Minister at the dispatch box, who I know who cares very deeply about this issue himself, that if he needs any help at all in trying to strong-arm as much of that budget towards dementia, then he will always have a friend in me. Madam Deputy Speaker, it's a pleasure to speak in this debate. This is an issue that impacts so many of my constituents, so many wonderful people who care or who suffer, and I'm delighted again that we've secured this debate and we've raised the flag for them. Thank you.